So, the Game Awards were yesterday, and obviously, there has been no short of controversy coming out of the Game Awards, and one of the main things that has been talked about is the winner of Game of the Year itself, which, to me and a lot of other people's surprise, happened to be Astrobot. And I'm not taking, this video is not going to be in no way taking away of the great game that Astrobot is itself, because it 100% definitely deserved its nomination. And you know what, if there was another game to take away Game of the Year from Black Myth Wukong, I think I'm kind of fine. And when I say kind of, I mean a little bit fine when it comes to Astrobot taking that spot. But we still have to talk about if the fact that Black Myth Wukong itself was robbed of Game of the Year, because there is a lot of people on the internet that are very much outraged at the fact that Black Myth Wukong did not win Game of the Year. And I am on that boat to a certain extent, because I voted for Black Myth Wukong to win Game of the Year, and I 100% still think that it definitely deserves Game of the Year, because if you played Black Myth Wukong, or even if you've watched gameplay of it itself, you know just how amazing the game itself was, from a narrative perspective, a graphic perspective, a gameplay perspective, direction perspective, the action itself, the combat itself, to me, was all amazing. And I think that it 100% deserved Game of the Year. And I am not one of the only people to think this as well. I mean, one of the biggest posts, one of the biggest people that have come out to say that this Game of the Year, this TGA award was rigged itself, has to be Shroud. As even Shroud months ago, when Black Myth Wukong first came out, he said that if he thinks Black Myth Wukong doesn't win Game of the Year, that the awards themselves are rigged. And yesterday, after it didn't win Game of the Year, he retweeted that initial tweet from Dexterito back in August, and he said, rigged. And you know what? To a certain extent, I have to agree with him. And I'm going to go into the reasons of why I think that Black Myth Wukong didn't actually win Game of the Year. And it's not because Astrobot was just straight up a better game than that. And if you are more of an Astrobot fan and you're going to say to me that, you're just complaining, shut up, or whatever, Astrobot definitely deserved it, you're entitled to your opinion. And so am I when I think that it's absolute BS that Astrobot won it. Before the TGAs was announced yesterday, when it came out, I think it was over a month or two ago, I can't exactly remember, but when it came out of the nominations for Game of the Year, and when everyone went to go select of who they would think win Game of the Year, it also came out that the Game Awards, so every single category, was going to be voted on by a panel of people. And these panels were not just selected people that were within the gaming community. They were massive publications, and this right here was actually on the Game Awards website, and it was actually taken down because of the backlash that it was getting. So as you can see, we have IGN, Inverse, Jeff Gressman Show, Kinda Funny, LA Times, MinMax, PC Gamer, Polygon, VentureBeast, The Verge, Touch Arcade, What's Good Games, Game Rant, NPR, Pride.com, and Variety. And this list itself brought a lot of controversy, and to me, rightfully so, because I think that 50% of these publications that were deciding what should win Game of the Year, if not maybe more of them, shouldn't have even been here. Because what does the LA Times have to do with video games? Nothing. What does Pride.com have to do with video games? Nothing. Variety? Nothing. These aren't video game publications. They're either just general news publications, or they're trying to push some agenda, like Pride.com. There's nothing wrong with being gay. That's why I'm not getting it from that perspective. Don't think that I'm saying that, Pride.com didn't deserve a spot on this list because it's about being gay. No, it's not about that. It's the fact that it doesn't have to do with video games. They're trying to push some agenda. And when it comes to pushing agendas, I think that the video game realm is not a space to do that. So I definitely think that these publications, majority of them, didn't have any right to have a say in who would win Game of the Year. And it's not only that, but also the fact that 90% of the jury was going to determine, like when it came to your vote, the players, the community vote, and then also the jury vote, 90% of when it came to the decision of who was going to win in each category, it was put to the jury, and only 10% was actually put out by the voting of the public. And the funny thing about all this is that there was actually an award during the TGAs called the Players' Voice Award, which was only voted on by just the community. So there was nothing else that was voted on. Like this jury had no say in this award. And Black Myth Wukong won that award. So it's almost like if you take this jury out and you left it to 100% of the community vote, it's almost like Black Myth Wukong probably would have won it. Now, this is just me speculating, and this is me just kind of, putting my tinfoil hat on and being a bit of a conspiracy theorist. So don't take my word for complete fact. But I mean, when you put the two and two together, it almost seems like my tinfoil hat conspiracy is like somewhat a little bit true. Now, you might be wondering, Donnie, why is it then that Astrobot won? Like, is it really that maybe these publications voted on it because it's just a better game? Well, I definitely think that maybe one or two of these publications 100% thought that Astrobot was a better game. And like I said, I think that there's nothing wrong with Astrobot getting a few votes, or when you piled it all up, Astrobot came in second or third instead of Black Myth, and Black Myth Wukong came in at first. But the reasons why I think that also Astrobot won Game of the Year over Black Myth Wukong, and the reason why I think that these juries didn't vote on Black Myth Wukong was because of the controversy that came out about Black Myth Wukong like late last year, and then also like bled into this year as well, including for when the game came out. And that had to do with that whole entire bullcrap IGN article where they were like claiming that there was a whole load of complicated sexism when it came to the development of Black Myth Wukong. Now, the thing about this is that this was all proven to be complete BS, because the translations that IGN took from this post that made it out like the developers of Black Myth Wukong, the developers at Game Science, was some kind of sexist people, turned out to be just bad translations. But the funny thing is that IGN, like, they didn't come out and say like, hey guys, we messed up, we are sorry, but what we said was actually not true. They didn't say anything like that. As a matter of fact, if anything, at times, they kind of doubled down when it came to them saying these things, saying that they didn't like Black Myth Wukong because of the sexism that was involved in the development of the game. And even if you look at the IGN review, I mean, they only gave it like an 8 out of 10, which to me, I think is completely stupid. I think that the game is easily, without a doubt, minimum a 9 out of 10. I mean, the fact that Dragon Age the Valguard has a higher review on IGN just goes to show that this is one of the reasons why I don't take these like video game publications serious anymore. Like I can't take them serious because after that, like once I saw that Dragon Age the Valguard got a 9 out of 10 compared to Black Myth Wukong's 8 out of 10, straight away I was just like, yep. Like, I was already on the verge of not taking them seriously, and then that came out, and I was just like, yeah, I'm 100% not taking them seriously whatsoever anymore. But I definitely think that when it comes to the controversy, like the absolute BS controversy that all these video game publications were trying to push against Black Myth Wukong, is probably one of the reasons why it was picked, like why Astrobot was picked over Black Myth Wukong when it came to this jury itself picking Astrobot to win Game of the Year over Black Myth Wukong. Because you can bet your ass, there is no way, I'm sorry, but you can't convince me that IGN and PC Gamer, Polygon, Game Rant, you can't convince me that just these publications voted for Black Myth Wukong over Astrobot? No way. No. You can't tell me that after all the smart articles that they wrote, especially IGN wrote about Black Myth Wukong, you really think that then they're just going to backtrack on that and vote for that game over Astrobot? No, of course they're not. So it's understandable of why you would come out and say that this game award was rigged. Like, it's absolutely understandable, and it's also why I think that Black Myth Wukong was robbed. Like I said, this is not taking anything away from Astrobot. The game's amazing. Like, I haven't played it myself, but I've watched extensive amount of gameplay of it. And when I say extensive amount as well, is that I just want to let you know, like, this doesn't take away, because I think that some short games can be just as great as like full-fledged, like longer games as well. But Astrobot takes around 7 hours to finish, while it took me around 31 hours to finish Black Myth Wukong. And like I said, when it comes to the length of games, I definitely think that there are some games that, like, you know, you could finish in like 2-3 hours that are 100% better than games that you can put 100 hours in. But at the same time, when you're putting two games together that are game of the year, it's just like, these games are both amazing, but I'm gonna get like 30 hours out of one game, which is only like, I only just completed the base game. Like, I never have gotten into New Game Plus and gone into 100% in the game, which would take me double the amount of time to do all of that, compared to Astrobot, which to finish the initial game would take me like 7 hours. So it's like, if I have to think about it, when I put two great games together, am I going to pick the game where I'm going to get like possibly over 100 hours in, or the game that I'm going to get like, you know, 20 hours in max? Like, then when it comes to that, that's when you got to think about the small details of each game. And yeah, like I said, if you think that Astrobot definitely deserved to win Game of the Year, I think that's absolutely fine, and you're 100% entitled to your opinion. But just like I think that Black Myth Wukong was robbed. I really do. I personally do, and I'm going to stick by it. I think that when it comes to the TGAs, a lot of people do over-exaggerate when it comes to games in the past not winning certain awards. Like when a lot of people last year were like, oh, Spider-Man 2 deserved to win Game of the Year over Baldur's Gate 3. Those people are absolute delusional idiots. Like, those are people who don't play video games whatsoever. But when it comes to this year, and when it comes to Black Myth Wukong not winning over Astrobot, that's where I'm just like, you know what? This one I can kind of understand, especially because of the history behind the Black Myth Wukong controversy, and for the fact of who voted on who was going to win Game of the Year. But I would definitely like to hear what you guys have to think about all this down below. Did you watch the TGAs yesterday? What did you think of the award show? I thought that overall, altogether, I loved the performances. I loved the whole entire production of it. I think that the TGAs are great, and I look forward to them every single year. And I still think that Black Myth Wukong definitely deserved to win Game of the Year. But did you think that Black Myth Wukong deserved to win Game of the Year? Did you think Astrobot? Do you think maybe another game? Were you one of those, like, 1 out of a million people that thought Balatro should have won? Let me know down below. It's going to be from me. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Peace out.